And welcome back to the top four of the Rainbow Pitch League. Today we are sponsored by Legend Story Studios, Fabberry, TCG TED, Premier Card Grading, Metal Fab Tokens, The Realm Games, Fresh and Buds, and our guest for this week, Melody.
Kia ora! Hi, everybody.
So today, alongside Melody and myself, we also have Elaine. So we've got a three-person casting booth, and we are starting this game off with Mercy on Lexi, using the Voltaire to put endless arrows in the arsenal, and Aria on Dorinthea. How do we feel about this game? Are you excited to be in top four, everyone?
Yes.
I can't believe that we're here. Yeah, in top four is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a matchup that we've seen a few times in the league already, actually. But seeing it in top four, I'm really excited. Both of these players have proven that they're really skilled, and so I think it'll be a good game.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So on Mercy's side, we didn't see an attack on turn 0, but we did see two arrows, neither of which have go again. So we're probably going to be seeing a Snapdragon Scalers, I have to imagine, on the next turns, just to clear the arsenal so she can keep on playing. But on the other side, on Aria, we have a Dawnblade coming in with 2 resources remaining and 3 cards in hand. How do we think Mercy's
Oh,
going
there's
to
something
block
tricksy going on here.
this?
It's something tricksy.
This looks very suspicious right now.
It is a typical warrior turn.
Mm-hmm.
Something else is coming. I'm wondering, is Mercy going to block this? They've got a pretty good setup for the next turn.
Yeah. I can kind of imagine a world here where Mercy might actually block this out quite a bit. She does have 2 cards in Arsenal already and can't play anything with Go Again without using Snapdragon Scalers, but both of those arrows cost 0, so it could be like a great time to maybe block with 3 cards, attack with that drill shot, and then Arsenal a card, to try to reduce the damage that she's going to be dealt, and kind of grind this game out a bit. Is an
Maybe
option.
she's got a three of a kind in
Mm-hmm.
her hand. That would be even
Yep.
better.
Yeah,
Just
of
block for
course.
days.
Yeah, there have been those infamous comparisons now to Carrion Husk with 3 of a
Mm.
kind. So definitely an option here.
There's thinking going on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it seems like this play is giving Mercy some pause, just to like how much she wants to try to prevent this damage.
Yeah, I wonder what she has in her hand. It's also, I feel like the first Dawnblade attack with Dorinthea is a little more tricky than the second, with some of the newer cards, because you have kind of like, what is it, Run Through and Blade Runner that that give the first weapon attack go again, but don't necessarily pump. But then if you take that damage, it can come with the second
Mm-hmm.
Dawnblade, and also the
And
reprise triggers. It's kind of it. I mean,
yeah,
tricky. There's a lot of stake in this game, right? This is top four. Whenever this is going to move on to the finals,
mm-hmm.
so I understand why Mercy is taking her time here. But it is turn one of the game. I think Mercy has a pretty good setup already. With Tunic is going to be on 2. I know going first is probably not ideal in this matchup, but you did get a Tunic counter. She did get to double load her arsenal. It's
Mm-hmm.
not bad, but it'll just depend what she has in her hand.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like she's already going for a different style of play to what we've seen previously in this league. Like when we saw Yuki playing, she was quite aggressive, taking the damage and just swinging back with a bunch of arrows. And here we see the run through. Sorry to
Yeah,
cut my own
there it
thought.
is.
Run through being a super powerful card from the pre-constructed duel deck, where this gives Go Again to the current sword and then gives the next weapon attack +2. So, like Lane, you were saying, the second attack's going to be harder to block because it's getting this bonus from this first sword that didn't end up using any of the resources. So here we have Aria pitching another blue, having 2 more
Oh,
resources, and
floating
still one
two.
card.
Oh,
And this Dawnblade is coming in for 6.
I don't have their deck list up. Does Aria run route?
Yes. From
Yes.
memory,
Okay.
I only remember one Dorinthea at the top 8. But yeah, from memory, I think she has the full 3 even to go along with the full playset of Iron Song Determination, make those big dominate, no block kind of plays.
I
I
think
love.
Mercy. What's that?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say Mercy is going to want to block this despite
Yeah.
if anything comes up, because there's going to be a counter at stake here, and you do not want Dory to get a counter round one.
Oh, for sure. And this might. There we go. So this is
Oh,
the kind of play I
whoa.
was thinking, where you block with 3 cards, put on 9. The Stormblade's for 6, unless this is specifically a route. This sword won't go above 9 here, or I guess it could be Singing Steelblade as well. So if it's not
Mhm.
those 2 cards, then blocking for 9 will fully stop this. Aria will get an arsenal, but Mercy can come in with that drill shot, try to wear down the equipment a little bit, and still be able to arsenal to have a 6-card hand for the following turn.
Hmm.
Um, and it looks like Mercy didn't really have any sort of damage buffs in this hand in the first place. And that's at least 1 blue, 2 blues. So it looked like she wasn't planning to have an impactful turn this next turn. I feel like
Oh, she
Mercy
missed
is
the.
pretty happy with that.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Um, so here we are in Mercy's turn. 1 card in hand, 2 cards in arsenal. Aria's got the arsenal as well with a full 5-card grip. And here we see that drill shot coming in for 4. If this attack deals any damage, it puts a -1 counter on Aria's equipment. For those that have played Warrior before, they know, you'll know, that the
Mhm.
equipment is a pretty big key part of that deck, allowing you to kind of keep your hand, because you just have so much sort of defense to get through without having to put any cards in hand.
The
So this drill
fridge.
shot, yeah, the fridge, and this drill shot is going to try to unscrew one of those doors.
Oh,
It is.
we're unscrewing doors. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh. Is Arya's headpiece Crown of Dominion?
It is Crown of Dominion,
Okay.
so
Okay.
it is the
Oh,
only
where's the.
piece that. Sorry, Crown of Providence. It's Crown of
Okay, I was
Providence,
going
not
to say
Dominion.
there's no gold token up there, and I was like, "What? That's an interesting Dory move."
I always think Crown of Providence is Cop, and I was thinking like Crown of Dominion. Where's the P in that?
Cup, Crown of. Okay.
All right, she blocked it all out. Good
Yep.
choice. May as well.
Yeah, of course. Like, there's no piercing on this because there's no aim counter, and you're going to want to threaten these like refraction boulders at some point in this game anyway. So you
Mm.
might as well block with them now, and it's kind of a threat from the remaining point of this game. Of course, you're not prized to using it every time, but if it's there, your opponent has to at least consider that you might want to attack a second time. And here we see
Cool.
a Steel Blade Supremacy signed by Lewis himself,
Hmm.
pitching in blue. And we have the Dawnblade for 5, 1 card in hand, 1 card in arsenal. And those refraction bolters that we blocked with in the previous turn. How do you all feel when you see a Steel Blade Supremacy across the table from you?
It's pretty scary. That's a really that's a really good Dorinthea card. Of
Uh-huh,
course,
uh-huh.
that is the until end of turn, target weapons get +2, and whenever they hit, draw a card. And
Mm-hmm.
you really don't want, I guess on the second swing attack, depending if Arya gets that card out of the arsenal or not, the draw is not as threatening because the draw does happen on hit. But this first Dawnblade coming in for 5. If it hits, Arya will draw a card off of that, giving her more possible attack reactions on that
Mm-hmm.
second Dawnblade, um, which is not very fun because you don't want, like we already said, Dawnblade to continue building up those counters. Um,
Yeah, for sure. And like, oh, sorry. Um, yeah, just once it gets to the counter, it gets to that break point of 4, like slightly above
Mm.
3, where you have to commit more than 1 card to kind of block it. And Rangers are pretty infamous for having very little armor that is useful for defending. So, being that this is before the banning of bullseye bracers, we don't see a hornet sting, which is like kind of the go-to equipment nowadays, which actually has a defense value. And you don't
right.
really want to block with your tunic or your new horizon this early in the game. So
No, you do not.
yeah, if this Dome gets a counter now, it's going to require 2 cards to stop any sort of on hits in the future, or immediate future at least.
I will say this is only turn 2, but the turn. I mean, well, this is turn 2 for Arya, and
Mm-hmm.
we've seen 2 pretty aggressive turns that
Hmm.
first one with just a little vanilla Dawn Blade as the first swing, but then following it up with a Dawn Blade for six it was, and a card still in hand, and now opening her second turn with the Steel Blade Supremacy into Dawn Blade. It's pretty good turns.
Hmm. Now, the thing I note specifically about Aria's play is that she has blocked with a go again enabler and is pitched to go again enabler, which makes me wonder if she's got another go again enabler or she's planning on just going over the top of whatever Mercy plays
Mm.
for one big
Mhm.
hit kind of thing.
Yeah, or using the bracers. I mean, once you've already blocked with them, um, maybe she's just kind of planning on going going full force and committing
Hmm.
and using the bracers now that she's already got the value out of them. I really don't
Hmm.
see an issue doing that either.
Yeah, true. We were just literally talking about those refraction bolters, and then I just proceeded to not remember them at all. Um,
Now, were you expecting Mercy to activate the Snapdragons last turn?
I felt like it was probably too early to use the Snapdragon
Mm.
Scalers, and I feel like she might have set up the double arrows just so she could kind of play to a bigger turn potentially. Like, I think she would have kept one card in hand, activated Voltaire twice, so it's like two arsenals. I can't remember if she pitched one or two cards in the first turn, but she might have been hoping to kind of draw some sort of like rain raises, in which case you might justify the Snapdragon Scalers.
Right.
But it seems like she has a different game plan to what I've seen other Lexi's playing. Like she's being a lot more deliberate about her blocking. So far,
Yeah,
in these two turns, she's trying to prevent taking damage and not just presenting 5, 6 card hands going aggro every turn. So maybe it was her game plan to just get in with that one kind of drill shot, try to wear down the armor for the late game when she can start making these big on hit turns.
it is really interesting. I don't think you see Dorinthea, or at least in the games we've seen, Lexi versus Dorinthea in the league so far, we haven't really seen Dorinthea present themselves as the aggressor.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
could have been just like, one of the die roll things. But it is
Yeah.
interesting. I love seeing an aggressive Dorinthea. It's kind of hard to do against Alexi. They can present a lot.
Mm-hmm. I think for Dorinthea, at least the way I've seen Aria play in Aria's deck list, like it seems like quite a more aggressive build than what I'm used to at my locals, where they don't necessarily play the Iron Song determinations. They'd rather try to fatigue their opponent's force blocks out. But yeah, this list has been pretty interesting as a much more kind of aggressive list. But when we last saw Aria, or at least last time I remember, like she was kind of taking the damage, setting up these combo turns to have these bigger things, wasn't necessarily applying pressure on at the start, like you mentioned. Like they haven't normally been the aggressor. But Mercy here's in the top four. So I imagine that she's kind of got a game plan going into this.
Yeah, I mean, and to your point about this Dorinthea deck being a little more aggressive than ones we've seen, particularly in this. Well, I say in this meta, but our meta is kind of unique in the fact that Oldham. This is pre Dusk Till Dawn, post Oldham LL.
Mm-hmm.
It looks
Oh,
like
she's
Mercy
taking
is
it.
just gonna take it.
Taking five, we're drawing a card. Are we going to see the refraction bolters? And there we go.
Yes.
Let's see some damage. We're going to get a second attack. We have three cards available to Aria, plus one resource currently. The Tunic's not live, but I think we've got enough to maybe force some blocks in the second attack potentially.
Mm.
I mean, Mercy could hold six cards, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what Aria presents here. The aggressive deck, I mean, it has worked so far. We're watching her play in top four right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually been really enjoyable to watch. It's kind of I've always loved Dorinthea, but you don't really get to see her with spoils.
Oh,
So here's a spoil of
spicy.
war. Very spicy. This is going to make the Dawnblade come in for 7. I don't know why the copper token's coming in now.
I
That's
She might just be
premature.
showing it
Yeah,
maybe to
yeah.
there. I'm assuming
Sure.
that Spoils of War is what Aria drew off the. Yeah, it looks like she was just showing her the copper on hit effect. But
Hmm.
it looks like that Spoils of War is what Aria drew off of the Steel Blade Supremacy. Um,
Yeah, you'd have to see me want to use it before the first sword, right?
right. I mean, Spoils of War is a fantastic card, and I would almost assume that that would mean that Arya is not going to get that card out of her arsenal right now. Because if she could get the card out the arsenal, it might have been smart to arsenal the spoils for the next turn because it's just such a strong card.
Hmm.
Is she
I
running
mean,
Nourishing?
yes,
Not
I
that she
can't
has the
remember.
resources to play it, but
Yeah. Um, she might be playing the spoils here just to get this sword from 5 to 7, which again is hitting the second breakpoint. So if multiples of 3 are
Mm.
3 and 6, 7 goes over the top of that. So now this is going to demand 3 cards from Mercy to block it. And if that card in Arsenal
again.
is. Yeah, but this time, because it's on 7 and not 6, if Aria has a +3 power reaction in Arsenal and Mercy only blocks 3 cards, we can go to the top of that, still draw the card from Steelblade Supremacy to replace the Arsenal, and we'll get that Dawnblade counter.
Mm,
So I think that's why the Spoils of War was played here. Not because of the go again, purely for the +2. The copper
Yeah,
tokens most likely won't be relevant in this matchup. But
Arya has. Does Arya still have one card in hand, or did she? No,
no.
she blocked. She blocked with
yeah.
one card, so she only had two card in hand here. Which could also assume maybe that that card in Arsenal is a cost one card because we didn't see a Brave Forge Bracers activation here.
Hmm. That's a great point as well. Um, Even if it's not a one cost card, it could just be the sort of bluff. Like the Brave Force
Mm,
prices won't push any urgency. Going from 7 to 8 will still require 3 cards. So having this bluff of having maybe a buff in Arsenal might push Mercy to block with 4 cards.
I love the poker face dynamics of playing a Dorinthea. It's
Hmm.
my that's why she's one of my favorites. I just love the bluffs and the poker face aspect of it all. It's so fun.
Yeah, she was my first hero for the same reason. That's
mm,
who I got into the game with. Um, and I just loved the idea of trying to have your opponent try to figure you out as well as have you try to figure your opponent out. It was a very exciting match, very exciting deck, and I still very much enjoy playing against Dorinthea.
Oh yeah,
Granted,
me
I
too.
feel like I do pretty well into Dorinthea, but
I still love playing Dorinthea. I know I've said
Mhm.
it maybe once on the podcast before, I think, but I just it's the poker face that draws me to it. I think that's what really got me into Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
woohoo!
And here we're seeing a defend for
Hey,
7.
is it,
Codex blocks 2, right?
oh, whoa.
So Codex and Incarceration are 2 each,
yeah.
and here we're going up to 10.
Oh.
So here's a Stroke of Foresight, and this card is amazing in this spot because Arya gets to look at this card, decide whether it goes at the top or the bottom, which is
Mm,
then going to affect Steelblade Supremacy draw and go to Arsenal. So if she saw a blue there that she didn't like, as you could see, she just put it on the bottom, gonna carry on with her day, get a new card
mhm.
potentially to Arsenal. But we are getting the first counter on this Dawnblade, as well as 2 cheeky copper tokens. Now, I
So
don't
Miss
believe there's a cash in her list.
and Mercy is now on the back foot. Mercy's got
Hmm.
a one card hand, two in arsenal,
Hmm. Yep.
already down 11. What's the play going to be?
Now, if we just play a 3 of a kind using that tunic, we could very much be back in this game, but it looks like she's thinking about going for this Endless Arrows for 0, coming in for 4, and whether Arya cares about this or not. Now, one thing to note is that Mercy did not flip the second card in her arsenal, so she does not have a second arsenal slot available to her currently. So this Endless Arrows is kind of almost vanilla, I want to say. Like, it's going to go back to Mercy's hand, and then she's not going to be able to arsenal, and is just going to draw 2 cards instead. So we could see a no block here. no defense, take 4, and just come back with a full 5 card hand again with a Dawn counter. Dawn counter? +1 counter on the Dawn play. Oh, Snapdragon
Oh, she's
Scalable.
snappies. All right, she's like, I'm gonna take it back and hit you again.
Mm-hmm. I definitely didn't expect to see it this turn,
No,
but here we go.
touch
She
to flip.
has grand plans, I imagine.
I mean, 11 life here. You do need to start
Mm.
Mm.
putting on some pressure. Okay, so here we're gonna see the Lexi activation. Flip the card. Um, Next attack gains go again.
If it's lightning.
If it's lightning, right. And if it's ice, you get frostbite. I am not a Lexi player.
Okay, so we're going again with this endless arrows. Coming in for 4. Go again with no damage bonus, and we're looking at a Bolton shot. I believe that's a red Bolton shot in the arsenal. And I think she still has 1 card in hand. She hasn't spent anything. She's the tunic for the resource here.
Yeah, she's got 1 card.
I believe that resource has been spent on the Voltaire. Oh, it's like she knew what we were asking. She puts the card down on the playmat, so we know. More likely, Aria asked her. And there we go, there's that counter removed. That playmat she's using is stunning, just as a side thought.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Okay, so we're getting a defense for 5 here. Still 3 cards in Aria's head, and we're seeing Arctic Incarceration. Absolutely backbreaking. This could potentially stop this Dawnblade from getting that second hit. We're getting 3 frostbites on the other side. And that takes up the entire blue, plus another resource just to attack with the Dawnblade for 4, so...
I mean, that was a pretty good turn for Mercy. You did see the Snapdragons used, but she did manage to push through 4 damage, and also get a card out of hand, get an equipment block, and pass off 3 frostbite tokens. So I pretty good turn.
Yep. Like, this game is very much about swinging tempo. And there we see 2 cards pitched, 2 yellows pitched for this Dawnblade for 4. But like I was saying, yeah, this game is very much about tempo and, like, kind of small incremental advantages. And I think that's what Mercy was playing for there. Like, it took a large turn and hasn't quite completely swung things back in her favor, but it was enough to kind of just make sure she's still in this game, not falling too far back. Yeah, great turn overall with Mercy. But again, she stares the Dawnblade down with the +1 counter.
Dun, dun.
So I think right now, the refraction boulders have been used. So there's no present go again on the board. Aria would want to swing for 2 here to try and get Dawnblade, keep the counter, possibly get a second counter. But with 1 card in hand, 1 card in arsenal, that card in arsenal would have to be like a Blade Runner or a Go Again or a Gwent the Quicksilver, and should have to have a card that's not a red in hand to get a second swing off.
She's got 1 resource.
Glint the Quicksilver could be really
On the
Does she
tunic.
have 1? Does she have? Oh yes, there is a tunic. You're correct. Yeah, I did not notice that.
Yeah, it's still interesting because of this counter. Like, she's still kind of pushing the pressure. She could also just be not aiming for a second attack this turn. This might be the turn where she's just trying to go over the top of whatever blocks Mercy can provide. Of course, it would be backbreaking of the 2 cards that Aria has, are Twinning Blade and Glint the Quicksilver specifically. But outside of that, I think Mercy's kind of prized into just blocking this out entirely and playing for another combo turn down the line. But very unfortunate for Aria to have 2 yellows in hand, which makes me think that there's no blue available in her hand.
Right. And any of the, like, if without a Glint the Quicksilver here, that 1 tunic resource is not going to be, well, if there's a Glint the Quicksilver in arsenal or in hand, you could have the 1 tunic resource to come in for a second swing on Dawnblade if it hits. Without it, she would have to have at least another. Yeah, she could have a red in hand if there is a Blade Runner. Or the problem here is most of your go again attack reactions are going to cost at least one.
Hmm.
Mhm, mhm.
No resources floating, and the Dawn Blade costs one, so you need at least two resources, unless there's a glint of Quicksilver involved, to get
Mhm.
a go again attack reaction and a Dawn Blade swing it.
There's so many different potential possibilities with Dorinthea, isn't there?
Yes.
Like, our resident Dorinthea players has given us I want to say brief rundown. I feel like there could be a lot more that could potentially be going on here, but a rundown indeed. And Mercy, once again, contemplating all the different possibilities that we have here.
Hmm.
Are you leaning in a particular line melody? Like, do you think there's? What do you think Aria might be presenting here?
I'm not sure. I think potentially going over the top just to retain that counter.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, there's something in hand that allows that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. I mean, she's got an advantage, I guess, life advantage at the moment.
Yeah,
Um, but I think the retaining that counter would be my priority because just getting that chip in and being able to retain it and then build on it
yeah,
um, is the way to go. But yeah, I'm
yeah,
not sure.
yeah. Like you say, like once you get the counter, your game plan kind of changes, right? You don't necessarily have to hit twice anymore, but as long as you can
Yeah.
present that consistent one additional damage every turn, that's kind of free, as well as the threat of getting even more of them and kind of growing into something that's kind of uncontrollable.
Mm,
Like that's the kind of point you're trying to get at here. Um, and Mercy just has to be thinking about what Arya's plan is, because like that seems like the more conventional line, I guess. Will just be trying to make sure you retain this counter. But
again.
there we go. There's another
Wow.
block of the three cards, 4/9 on a 4. So she's really trying to
Whew.
play around one sort of buff here. And the ways I can see this going badly for her is if there's a glint and a twinning blade, or if there's a 1 cost
Here we
3
go.
and a 0 cost 3 buff. Singing Steel Blade, that's coming in now for 5. Oh, is she gonna get
Oh,
overpowered?
glint. Is she gonna get glint?
This could be glint twinning.
Yeah.
It could be a glint twinning combo. Um,
Incidentally, if Arya did keep a blue in hand to kind of hide this play, this could be an overpower, which means it's going to come in for a massive 11 damage, if that's the line.
yeah. I mean, if she had a blue in hand, I feel like she would have played one of the Warriors' Valors to get
Oh,
the
unsung
buff.
response.
Okay, so that's gonna be a buff 3 here.
So we're
So
now
Um,
she's
looking at 9.
10. No, it's 10, isn't it?
It
five,
Four,
is.
six,
five, six,
nine.
7, 8. Okay, sorry.
Yep.
And there's the other Iron response.
Oh!
Here we go. Like we
Love
pointed, this one is
it.
going over the top of this block. This is coming in for
Yep.
11 damage. And Mercy did get
Wow.
to keep card in hand, but wasn't expecting the double buff off one tunic resource only. But here we go. Iron Song Response is a super powerful card, giving +3 for no resources as long as your opponent has blocked in hand. So we're taking 2. The Stone Blade is staying at 4 damage, and we're going to be shipping it off to Mercy's turn.
That is a pretty good play here. I definitely think that maintaining the Dawnblade counter was more important than trying to gain another. It's just kind of
Mm-hmm.
risky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at the same time, you do know that with that block, well, yeah,
Yeah, no, for sure.
if a twinning glint would have been just as effective, I think you would also know that with a 3 card block, Mercy couldn't block out the second one. You would guarantee get that
Mm-hmm.
counter, but I mean, just with what she had in hand, obviously she already had that Iron Song response. I think they're going for the maintaining counter was a really smart move.
Yeah. It would have been a super bold kind of soul read if she went for the glint to draw the twinning blade. Like, you just probably have to buy a lottery ticket at that point if that was the line you went for and it worked. So yeah, we have the counter remaining on the Dawnblade. Arya doesn't get to Arsenal this turn, but I don't imagine Mercy's going to be doing too much impactful back this turn. Just arsenaling a card, going to a 6 card hand, and Arya kind of, I don't want to say firmly in the driver's seat, but she's definitely opening the driver's side door.
Definitely
She
opening the driver's
certainly
side
is.
door. The keys are in her hand right now, you
Mm.
know? She just got to turn the ignition, unlock the car first. 9 point lead, a pretty good turn. I'm really excited to see what she can present here. Like I said, these turns from Aria on this Dorinthea have been really powerful.
They've
Hmm.
been very powerful. And we've already seen Mercy hemorrhage 3 cards each hand.
Hmm.
So she's already through about 18% of her deck. So are we going to see a fatigue sort of strategy here? Like, this is crazy. This is
Yeah,
amazing.
the old fatigue Doria going back to Welcome to Wraith back in the
There's
day. It's quite a
no
bit of time.
Arsenal here.
No, correct.
So,
I mean, just to also think that she started that turn with 3 frostbites.
Hmm. Yeah, and she still managed to push 11 damage through. It would have been interesting if Mercy chose to block 4 cards there just to try to halt all momentum.
hmm,
Um, it makes me feel like this card that she has arsenaled has to be pretty powerful. I have to assume it's not an arrow, because you don't want to risk putting 2 arrows in arsenal and not being able to play through it, unless she intends to block with 4 cards this turn. But Arya has the world minus the arsenal at her disposal this turn.
she does.
Hmm.
Oh, she's been tricksy again.
Yep. It's
Okay.
just a dull blade. It's just a
Don't,
weapon attack for
don't
4.
worry about it.
There's
Nothing
no
to
go
see
again.
here.
I don't have resources.
Mhm.
I
I
pitched
wonder
the
if we're
red for this.
gonna see a similar play where she gives it go again with a buff,
Hmm.
and then Mercy's forced to block with 3 cards again. Like, this seems to be the general play.
Yeah, the run through kind of play. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I saw previously, right? Yeah.
Mm,
Oh, pitching the red is just so cheeky too. I
yeah.
love
It's
it.
like, there's nothing to see here.
This could very much be a case of Arya not having any sort of blues or even yellows in this turn, or maybe Arya's already done the math, knows exactly how many resources she needs for this line, and wants to present as little information about what she's going to do this turn. And here we see the glint of
Yeah,
Quicksilver!
I thought it was
The
a
glint.
glint. Love it. But she did miss out on the card draw.
I think she's fine with that because she's going to be forcing
She's,
blocks with this next
yep.
attack. So yeah, she did have the blue. She could have played the glint, sorry, pitched the glint just to kind of play that stroke of foresight here, but instead we are coming in for damage, and there's a route in the pitch zone specifically. I should specify the route is not being played. We have 1 card in hand, no resources. What are the chances she has the third Iron Song response here? Like, surely it's very low, but not impossible.
Oh,
Not
I wonder
impossible.
if maybe she's, I don't know, going to hold off playing anything because she's going to keep a counter. But I'm just
Yeah,
conscious, when I'm playing against rangers, and I'm sure everyone is, of a frailty
yeah.
coming up,
Yeah.
like, and trying to hold something in arsenal. So in your face, you're not going to get rid of one of my cards.
Not only that, Dorinthea doesn't really have attacks that aren't the Dawnblade, so she's
Hmm.
not going to get affected by the Frailty's -1 ability from Arsenal. She will get affected by the Frailty's -1 on weapon, but that's kind of unavoidable. So I think you're right, though. I think Aria's happy to get 2 cards out of Mercy's hand here and Arsenal a card just to play around the Codex a little bit, but also just to kind of prevent the damage she might get on the swing back by just dealing damage to Mercy and forcing cards out of Mercy's hand.
I'm also a little curious right now. This game we're at 23:36. It's been a very I mean, it's been not to say a slow game, but for a Dorinthea Lexi matchup, it has. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious to see also if Aria is picking up on maybe that second cycle coming back, because
Yeah.
we did see 2 yellows pitched, which I know was mainly for the Arctic incarceration, but now you're following it up with 2 really powerful red cards, and if that second pitch does come around, she's setting up a powerful turn.
I would be even more impressed if Aria's setting it up so she draws one of the reds with the yellows and then the next red with the other cycle, the following hand. I am no pitch stack genius. I
Neither.
literally, yeah. All I care about is where my defense reactions are in my deck and whether I'm going to boost into them or not. The rest of my deck at that point is blue, and they all pitch towards chambers. That's all I need to know. But here we're getting 2-card block.
Okay.
A 2-card block? Here we're getting a 2-card block.
Are we seeing something? Oh, she's arsenaling.
But we still had that counter, and we threatened the second counter. Pretty successful turn for Aria. Sneaking in 4 damage. We get the second counter on the tunic. We have 2 cards in hand. We are playing a premeditate. And this is massive. This is giving the go again to this Bolton shot. Mercy has finally cleared that arsenal, available to do whatever she wants with the resources she has. And it looks like this is coming in for 7. Because the arsenal is clear, this Bolton shot will also have its effect to
reload.
Couldn't remember the name of that. This happens every time. But does have the potential to reload an arsenal, a card into arsenal face down. So, yeah. Suddenly this game is getting closer.
On hit of the Ponder token, also for Mercy from the
Yep. So Mercy's going to be able to arsenal something if she wants at the end of this turn, regardless of how many cards she spends here. And this reload token could be really interesting. Like, we could see something like a reload something like a Winter's Bite, and then flip that up because she hasn't flipped anything yet using the Lexi ability. So we might get a Frostbite on Aria's side plus the Winter's Bite.
There's 4 Frostbites potentially. Or 3 of a kind.
Yeah, we still have yet to see a 3 of a kind and a Rain Razors this game and a Codex. And that reload is a great way to not have to discard to the Codex as well. If you reload an arsenal that you'd want to play, and then you can kind of Codex. I don't think I've seen a Falcon Wing yet, which would be like, because that's just a natural go again arrow. But here we're getting a block with 3 equipment. Sorry, 2 equipment for 3. Are we getting any other cards thrown in front of this, or does Aria just want to keep a 5-card hand? Aria just wants to keep a 5-card hand, potentially. Unless we see a sync/fate/ some other reaction.
No.
She's putting her cards down and saying, send me the bill.
Oh, there we go!
Oh, what?
I was kind of suspicious of that simply because the crown effect was used from a card from hand and not from a card from the arsenal.
That's a good shout.
Crazy.
That's a very good point.
Is she going to sink? Is she reevaluating her hand? She is.
There we go.
Okay.
Aria's turns have been so efficient and very calculated.
Like, as far as getting things at the right time, using the right resources, even through the triple frostbites. And there you go.
There it is.
We could have seen 4 frostbites that turn, unless that's a blue. I can't quite tell. We could have seen 4 frostbites that turn if that Bolton shot hit. But Aria still has 4 cards in hand, and last time Aria had 3 frostbites.
2 cards. Yeah, she had 3 frostbites. She paid through it with 2 yellows, had 2 in hand, 1 in arsenal,
and still attacked for 11.
Yep.
So we could still see an equally powerful turn here. One that might demand every card from Mercy's hand. I just want to see it. I just want to see a 4-card block. Like, every time it seems like there's a big turn, I just want to see 4 cards. We've seen 3, and then Aria's gone over the top. Maybe we'll see a 4-card block this turn. Maybe this is the one, and maybe this is the one where you get punished for blocking with 4 cards. Who knows?
I'm thinking 3 of a kind's on its way. Gotta be.
I'm curious to see how Aria works around these 3 frostbites. I mean, it the 3 frostbites last time really did not slow her down as much as I anticipated them to. She still put out a really powerful turn with that singing
Oh,
steel
she
blade.
can pay through it with her whole
And
hand.
once again, we see 2 yellows.
2 yellows again.
Mm, okay.
And that route was just stacked to the bottom last time, and
Hmm.
now you're following it with a yellow. So if it comes back up, she will be able to pay for it,
Hmm.
unless she has 3 more frostbites.
I mean, there should only be one more Arctic incarceration with it.
Yes.
But
I don't think she's playing Remembrance, so I think we're going to be
No,
okay.
I would be shocked.
I've not seen a ranger play Remembrance.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Not for
Maybe
quite a few years,
deck,
anyway.
secret deck.
We're just on the cutting edge of technology here at Rainbow Pitch League.
Yes, we are.
As we
Confirm.
play a format
Remembrance
that
good.
doesn't exist.
So I wonder if Mercy, you're contemplating, she's lost a lot of life, she's not been able to take the tempo.
Hmm.
At what point does she go, okay, cool, I'm just gonna take some damage to get in a good heavy hitting turn because she has not had tempo at all.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
Aria has a 13-point life lead right now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's pretty heavy.
Mercy has worked through almost the entirety of the fridge, though. Like, there's
Mm,
one
Yep.
block on the tunic and one
mm.
remaining on the bracers. Um,
I don't think
so,
there is anything left on the braces. I think the braces are all done, aren't they?
oh, maybe? No, block
I
for
think,
2 last turn. It was.
Oh, did it?
Oh,
Okay.
wait, no, you're right. Actually, a block for 1.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, she's asking.
So let's see the graveyard. Oh, I love how she's like
What are they
sorting it
doing?
out.
I think Mercy's asking for what's in the graveyard to try to figure out what
Oh, okay.
reactions Aria may have. Mercy might have noted that she remembers seeing the Iron Song response and maybe wants to double check that the third Iron Song response hasn't been blocked with or anything at this point. In Aria's pitch zone, we see the glistening steel blade. I think that's the name, which is a
And
super
singing?
powerful go again, and also singing steel blade.
Mm.
So a lot of yellows that are super powerful. And I'm sure Aria would have loved to play that glistening steel blade, or loved to play this hand in general without the frostbites. But this is the world that you live in when you're incarcerated in the ice.
Incarcerated in the ice.
I've said some weird expressions today.
That's
You're
okay.
all
We
good.
are, yeah.
We've had an interesting morning.
We've,
Oh, okay. What's she gonna do? What's she gonna do?
Going through both graveyards. Mercy's being very thorough here, making sure that
Mm,
she kind of knows exactly what's going on, or at least trying to give herself the most information to try to infer what could happen here. With 2 cards in hand and no resources floating, how big does the Stoneblade get?
I mean, both of these players are just playing like this is some top level play right here. I
Mm-hmm.
am really enjoying watching this game, and they also still have a lot of life to play with. I mean, we are. I don't know how long we are into this game right now, but I mean, it's a lot of game has already been played, and we're still at pretty high life totals right now.
Mm-hmm. I think we're in turn. I want to say 5.
Yeah. Even though Aria has a heavy life lead, there's still life to be played with on both sides.
Mm-hmm. And of course, sometimes you just have Codex in your arsenal, and you
hmm.
draw tome. Not tome, you draw razor,
Ooh.
rain razors, and 3 of a kind, and sometimes you just almost kill your opponent in 1 turn. But we're seeing a block for 8 here. I think premeditate blocks for 2, so this is 8. This will stop 1 reaction. It
Yeah.
might not
She's
stop 2.
saying, nope. If you
Mm-hmm.
can't buff this, you're not keeping that counter. But okay, I'm gonna glint and I'm gonna draw a card. And I'm gonna come over the top potentially.
Or do we have the Twinning Blade? No! There we go. We've
Oh.
successfully stopped the turn. The Dawnblade has finally lost its count.
Ooh.
The Quicksilver didn't draw any additional cards.
Good call.
And now we're going to see Lexi potentially try to get back into this game. And here is a uh,
Blood rot.
infecting shot.
Was it infecting shot? Oh.
Yeah, it is the blood rot token one. I just remember that I've been trying to work on these names. I remember it doesn't have the word blood rot in its name, but it will give a blood rot counter
It will,
token
yes.
to Aria if it hits. So this is functionally asking your opponent the question: do you want to block 5 or do you want to take 7?
Yes. Commit 2 cards
Mm-hmm.
or lose 7 life. And there's no equipment left, so she can't do a 1 card block with. Oh, she's going to take it.
Mm-hmm. Blocking with a route, that's a very expensive resource card to kind of have. It costs 2 in addition to whatever else you need to do for the remainder of the turn. So I kind of understand that, just trying to keep your life total high enough that you don't get completely run over. You still have access to 4 cards in hand. And the kind of neat thing about Aria's position here is if she attacks, tries to bluff some sort of big bonus, and Mercy doesn't bite, she may just have the resources to pay for the blood rot anyway. But there we go. Just make sure the life totals are the same. And here is the blood rot token. Getting an arsenal from Mercy. How do you feel about this position now?
I mean, effectively, right? Aria is just unless Aria pays through the blood right here. Okay, we'll worry his valors.
Ooh.
Okay. Does not look like she's going to pay for the blood right.
She's got 1 resource on the tunic. Ooh, what's in arsenal?
Yeah, so this is 8 damage. Once again, asking for at least 3 cards from Mercy. And I kind of really like the block with the route there. Unless you desperately needed it for resources, which isn't necessarily something she needed because of having access to the tunic. Although, like, it could kind of matter because it means, like, maybe a second hit could be easier to pay for if she still had that route. So, who knows? Maybe she could have kept the route. But either way, this is 8 damage. Asking the tough questions again. Are you going to block enough?
Wow. She blocks with 3, 4?
Yeah. 3 cards.
She's almost at half a deck. Almost.
Yeah. And the difference between these 2 heroes is one of them has a weapon that can deal damage, and the other one has a weapon that cannot. So as the decks kind of dwindle down, Dorinthea does tend to get an advantage and can be the fatigue deck in this matchup, should she choose.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot. I mean, 8 damage is a lot, and you're presenting a lot of on hits here too, right? From the Warrior's Valor will give the Dawnblade going in, and then you also have the draw. It's pretty scary.
Yep. It's very scary. And 1 floating with the tunic. Or sorry, 1 available resource available.
Yeah, better than floating. It just stays there if you choose not to use it.
Yes. I mean, I think at this point, Aria's like, meh, I'm going to use my life as a resource. I'm going to take your 2 damage, and I'm just going to smash you in the face. This is pretty much what's happening. 3 cards again.
3 cards, not 4.
Endless
Mercy
arrow.
called it correctly?
I'm really hoping that's not the 3rd Iron Song.
Oh my
gosh. Oh, that is like, oh my gosh. Wow.
Draw a card. Go again. What are we doing? This is just crazy.
And we're getting, this is ruthless. We got a yellow, which means we get to actually use the Brave Forge Braces as well.
Brave Forge Bracers.
This is 6.
Whoa.
6 whole damage coming through.
Give me a card, give me a counter.
Right, you still got that on hit from Steelblade Supremacy where you can get an arsenal here. Oh my gosh, what a turn.
There is potential for the bold line of block with the 3 from hand, plus your tunic, plus your New Horizon.
Whoa.
I don't know if things are that dire just yet. Nope, we're just going to take the 6.
I mean, you're not going to win the game by blocking, I think, so.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, 15 to 34. Gonna get, well, Aria's gonna take 2 here. This was 15 to 32.
Mm-hmm. Just for a brief moment, there was a time where it was 15-34. Just like there's a brief moment in time where Oldham's not legal, but Bullseye Bracers is, and that's our winner in the Rainbow Pitch League. I say it's a brief moment of time. This event has been 2 months long. And here we see, Heat Seeker. That's a pretty good one. And we're arsenaling a card as well. So once again, we're in this position where I have to assume it's not an arrow, or at least not an arrow without go again in the arsenal, because if it is, who knows what happens. But like Mercy's been forced to block a lot, so maybe it could be.
She has. Aria's really had the upper hand in this game to date so far.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to see next? We're going to just see, I'm just going to come in for a vanilla 4 with my Dawnblade. Boom, boom, boom!
2 booms, just 2 booms. They're just very large booms.
So, well, we know there's no more Iron Song responses, so the red Iron Song responses are gone.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen how
we
many?
We've seen 2. Ones.
Yep, we've seen 2 Steel Blade Supremacies so far. Have we seen 2 Glint the Quicksilvers as well?
Yes. And here we see the Glistening Steel Blade. I'm pretty sure I got the name right. But for those who don't know what this card is, it is a 1 cost that gives go again to your sword, and every time it hits this turn, it's going to get a +1 counter. We've pitched 2 reds for this turn so far, leaving Aria with 2 cards in hand, plus the Tunic resource available. We know that there's no red, specifically Iron Song responses left.
I'm in danger! That's
Very
what
much
I'm thinking.
And crucially, we've seen no Twinning Blades from Aria yet either. So, Twinning Blade is the best way to punish your opponent that overblocks.
Oh, yeah.
And we could very well see that here.
Did Aria not have a counter going into the last turn?
No.
Okay.
It was blocked out the turn prior with a 3-card block.
Right. Yes.
Most of the 3-card blocks this game have leaked damage, so it was nice to see something a bit different where it actually moved the counter. But Aria was pretty quick to get that counter back. And here we're staring at 4 damage with the potential for more. This Glistening Steelblade is actually one of my favorite cards in the game, and why I ended up writing an article on the Quicksilver Prodigy. It's just such a cool card.
Good card. It is a cool card, and the art is really... I love the art on it, too.
And that card costs a bomb, doesn't it?
Yes.
Right, because that was released in the Dual Battles, the Classic Battle set. And so, I mean, just to buy that set was like $50 if you want a whole play set.
Yeah.
The card, effectively, you'd have to, if you were just going to buy it from the box it came in, you'd have to spend like $150 just to get a play set. So they're pretty...
They're not easy to come across, and they also don't come in foil. But with Bright Lights and their new fancy slot, there's a non-zero chance it gets put into the game as a rainbow foil.
Bright Lights?
I'm going to have to go grab one.
You must be excited about Bright Lights, Kiki.
Warrior mech out of Bright Lights.
Yeah, I'm so excited for Bright Lights. I'm so ready for Dash to maybe do something different. And then after all of that, I'm just going to go back to playing Induction Chamber, Tactical Plasma Pistol, and nothing's going to change.
Nothing's going to change. You heard it here first. Bright Lights is coming out and nothing's going to change.
Oh, no. For everyone else it will. But for me, I'm just so stuck in my own ways.
That's okay.
Like, while we're thinking about the lines through here, rather, I've been trying a whole bunch of different decks prepping for Nationals. I have not played many events this year, so the last month and a half or so I've been really trying to play some Classic Constructed, trying to figure things out. I've been watching a lot more content than usual. But yeah.
Have you landed on a hero?
Maybe. So, like, I'm kind of getting better with Lexi, but I'm still bad with Lexi in comparison to how good I am with Dash, like, skill-wise. And Levy is really cool, but let's be honest, like, am I going to play something that's not Dash? Like, I've played her for the first 3 Nationals.
Exactly.
Am I going to make the 4th Nationals the time where I don't play Dash? Find out. Um,
Find out.
I don't have a link. I don't know. Probably on Twitch. It's maybe going to be streamed. Maybe I bomb out. Maybe I ask if I can do commentary. Who knows?
But you'll tweet about it either way, though, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
probably.
Or sorry, X about it either way, right?
Well, as far as I'm aware, I still type twitter.com to go to the website. It's still Twitter.
Yeah, it's still Twitter. I'm looking
Yeah, I'm
forward
looking
to
at this
seeing
screen. We
Levia.
still have a little blue bird on our connect with us.
I mean, we can leave it there. This event was technically in June, you know? Like, we're just in the future talking about the past.
They know what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Now, does Mercy know what Aria is talking about here with this play? Still looking at this 4 power go again Dawnblade that will grow if it hits. No blocks have been decided yet.
Yeah, I think that Mercy's in a difficult position. You know, 17-point life lead, you want to come back with something powerful, but at the same time, Aria's threatening a lot with having a glistening steel blade up because, yes, maybe you can come back with something powerful, but with a 17-point life lead and all these possible counters from glistening steel blade, Aria might just take it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the longer this game goes and the more that Aria is pushing all of this pressure, you're right. Like, it's getting harder to justify waiting for the large combo turn that'll buy you back into the game functionally, right?
Right, and
Like,
like you said, out of every 3 card block we've seen so far, I mean, aside from one, Aria has been able to go over the top, which is pretty crazy.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's really thinking about
Like I said,
it. You see the cards, and then she's like, maybe not. Maybe I should just take it.
one of the things I liked about what she did there that I think more people should consider
Mm.
is if you're thinking about your blocks and it makes sense for you to put them in front, make sure your opponent doesn't see them.
Right.
Like, you
Oh my
haven't committed to the
gosh,
block yet. If
yes.
you put it face down, you know, like, nothing's been committed. You still have time to change your mind. There's nothing more awkward than trying to block with 2 cards and being like, oh, wait, no, I actually want to block with this one. And then now
Right.
you've given your opponent free information at best. And at
The
worst,
cards face
your opponent's
down.
going to call a judge and be like, no, they blocked with these 2 cards.
Right. Put the cards face down. Take a good look at what your hand and your turn will really look like if you block with those 2 cards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And
there's a
speaking of blocking
Falcon
2
Wing.
cards, we're blocking 7 here.
And
There
she did.
goes the
Oh,
tunic.
Was Tunic at 3? Did she use that resource or no?
I
I think it was at.
hold on.
I
Hold on.
think
Are
it
we
was
seeing
at.
him out? Oh my
oh
goodness.
Oh my
my
gosh.
gosh!
Okay, so we don't have the resources to attack a second time here with the Dawnblade, but crucially, this
Just
is
get a
going to hit. We've
counter.
lost the tunic, and this is
Oh
going to
my
get a second counter without even having to attack twice. Oh, it looks like. Oh, she is returning a card to hand. Okay.
Yep, she does get her. I mean, at least Mercy gets to keep a card here.
Yeah, but
20
at
point
this
life
point, I think
lead.
Aria is just happy to take almost any damage. Again, like we were talking about, like, this life total lead is now up to 20. Aria is still in the top 70. No, what am I trying to say? Aria is still above 75% of her life.
Right, and you still get that second counter on Dawnblade as well from Glistening Steelblade. Okay,
Ugh,
Rain
Razors,
Razors.
3 of a kind.
Rain Razors is one of the ways to get back into this game. We need to have back-to-back-to-back massive turns here at this point for Mercy to get back into it.
Come on,
But she
Ditching
did
the
go.
Dreamcoin.
Arctic
No.
Incarceration. Just going for damage here, I'd assume, rather
Yeah,
than disruption. But
yeah.
Sleep Dart.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Let's
Sleep
get
Dart
this
is
party
kind of
started.
interesting. It means that if this hits, Dorinthea is not going to be able to attack a second time without Twinning Blade. But also, if this hits, this is 7 damage, and that's 1/3 of the life total difference at this point. So we're kind of just scratching and clawing for literally anything that we can do. She has 1 card in hand, it looks like, which should be the... I've already forgotten the name. Falcon Wing. But if she uses the Falcon Wing, paying the resource for it, then she can't attack with the Heat Seeker. So we might see the Bullseye Bracers this turn just to get a 3-arrow Ran Razor's turn here. And if so, that's 7 plus 6 plus 7 is 20 damage. That's the entire life total lead caught back up. Mercy will get an arsenal from the Heatseeker if Aria doesn't block, and Aria is only going to be able to attack once with the sword next turn, most likely. So this is kind of the turn she needed. Like, barring having a 3 of a kind in hand before this, like, this is exactly what she was kind of playing for at this point.
Right. Like you said, she is threatening possibly 20 damage. You can close that large life total gap. And fortunately for Mercy, Aria is kind of out of equipment block besides that tunic, but I don't really see a tunic block here.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe, unless you do, yeah. But
the kind of position that Aria's in now is if she wants to fully block something on this turn specifically, that's 2 cards plus the tunic. And like the tunic you could maybe get away with not having. Like, I don't know if you expect to have 3 more turns where that resource may be relevant with Mercy on 12. Probably, but not necessarily. Like, there's a world I can see where you think you don't need it. But that will leave you with only 2 cards in hand. And while your Dawnblade is coming in for 5 now, that can still be stopped and does give Mercy the option to kind of get back into this game. This is a super interesting turn. Like, the on-hit specifically of Sleep Dart and Heatseeker are kind of really good at this point, trying to force Aria to make a decision on which ones to stop, if any.
Yep. I think it'll also give, in turn, Mercy a lot of information of what Aria has in her hand, depending on which one she chooses to fully block here, if she chooses to fully block here.
It definitely tells Mercy a lot about how Aria intends to play this game from this point onwards, as a result of this turn. Just a little, how you doing, what you up to kind of thing.
She's taking it. All right.
I wonder if she has the 20.
Yeah.
Yep. Or maybe she just has all buffs.
Yeah, she just wants to maintain those 2 counters.
Sleep Dart has turned Dorinthea into a young hero, but don't worry. That doesn't actually represent what's going on here. And we're getting a block on the Heatseeker, so we're not using the Bullseye Braces here. This is just, nobody saw the air quotes, just 14 damage on that turn, taking 7. I kind of like how restrained Aria's being here at this point. Like, she still has the lead. There is an opportunity for Mercy to get back into this game. Here we see a Warrior's Valor pitching a blue. This is just coming in for 8 damage, and there's nothing else to be kind of threatened here. This is exactly 8 damage. What you see is what you get, and will Mercy get a block on 8?
Now, Aria has no cards in hand here.
She's going to want to block that. She needs those counters gone.
Mm-hmm.
Unless this hand is like 3 of kind Rain Razors, in which case there's a chance you don't block this, because this sword is not coming in again this turn.
Well, taking 8 damage here at 12 life with Aria at 25
is bold.
It's risky.
That's really bold.
Yeah.
I would be shocked to see if Mercy took this whole thing. Also, I didn't even notice until just now. I know you said it, but that Aria did have the young Dorinthea to flip over on that sleep dart effect. That's pretty funny.
Is it a new demi hero? She's being Leviathan.
Yeah. Dorinthea's just getting her beauty sleep, just kind of de-aging by having a nap.
Sleep dart, beauty sleep, I love it.
I've also mentioned this in a previous game, but I really like Aria's sleeves. I can only assume that's her cat, because it'd be kind of weird to have somebody else's cat on those sleeves. But
I didn't even know. I haven't even looked at the sleeves. It's a cat. Okay.
I feel like she said that in the Discord at one point. I could be wrong, but there's been a lot of cat content in the Discord.
Mm-hmm. No, if there's one thing I've learned about...
Which I love, but
Yeah, if there's one thing I've learned about Fab players, is that a large portion of us love cats. I've learned a lot about Fab players, and there's more that I've learned about Fab players than an affection for cats. But, that is one of the things.
Yeah, I think I've sent like pictures of my cats in every Fab Discord I'm in. To
Mhm.
be fair,
Yeah.
we're seeing it looks like Mercy is looking through her own graveyard right now, rather than Aria. It doesn't look like Aria has to see it. I say the way that she just shuffled through it looks like Mercy's kind of looking. Okay, what do I have left? Aria's, that's a good idea. I'm gonna see what do I have left too.
Hmm.
At this point in the game, my opponent's at 12 life. What damage do I have?
Yeah.
And like you said, we still haven't seen a twinning or an Iron Song determination in play, which could be really powerful with Mercy at 12 life.
Yeah.
If there's an Iron Song coming up, that would be really great for Aria to put that domination on here.
There was one pitched
There was
along,
one, yeah, there was one pitched.
and that was immediately after the route, which is a pretty game-ending combination if we get to that point and have the resources.
Do we
Unfortunately
have
for Aria, those are pitched with yellows and reds.
Aria has seen all three routes here. Two would be in the graveyard. One is in the pitch stack.
Mhm.
She played one, blocked with one, and pitched one.
The trifecta.
Is Aria running any red overpowers in this deck? Do you know?
I can't remember. I want to say yes. I think I remember seeing it, but I
We've
haven't seen one
seen,
this game. She might have sided them out, thinking that she wouldn't have a chance to use them.
yeah, we have seen the blue ones.
Yeah, two of them even.
If there's red ones, that could be also really powerful with your opponent. So yeah,
Mhm.
3 card black is probably a smart move here.
Mercy here, happy to just remove the 2 counters off the Dawnblade, preserve some life total, and leave Aria with no arsenal. That was a very unfortunate turn for her to have no resources. I guess she pitched the blue, played some cards. Yep. Here we see the Falcon Wing from the previous turn. They got routed back into hand, and we're going to get an arsenal. So we are going to see an up to 6 card hand here from Mercy, and Mercy has to be happy with how this game is kind of going over the last couple turns at the very least. But here we go. Here
All
is.
right.
Speaking of cats,
Yeah, speaking of cats.
who knows if this gets edited out or not. Um, so here we have a Warrior's Valor into Dawnblade for 5 damage. This is a classic Dorinthea combination of cards here, and I can finally confirm there's a Twinning Blade in this deck. It's just in the pitch zone. So 5 damage. This is almost half of Mercy's life total, and again, threatening a second arrow. Mercy's kind of at the point where she has to kind of respect every Dawnblade hit almost. Unless, like, the turn is absolutely ridiculous coming back. Like, if this hits, we're looking at potentially lethal being presented.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm.
What are you thinking of this turn, Melody?
Mm?
So what do you think about this turn right here?
Does it fill you with, like, inspiration?
Does it fill you with inspiration?
I think she's going to come over the top.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at her deck list.
Yep.
What else have we got?
Do you see the red overpowers in there? Also,
No, only blue over.
Dorinthea,
She's got
Oh.
3 blue overpowers in there.
Okay.
Dorinthea is fully grown also at this point. Shouldn't reflip her over, but she's grown up. Her beauty sleep is over.
She remembers that she's weathered and been in many fights.
So we've got nothing floating. Maybe an Out for Blood.
Oh, true.
Potentially.
Oh
I don't think we've seen those yet. And Alpha
We
Blood,
saw-
have we seen them? I don't think we've seen any.
we saw one.
I think we've
one
seen
blocked,
one.
one played, one blocked. I think we haven't seen
Yeah.
any played.
That
That
might
was
have
like
been.
a turn 1 block.
That might have been one pitched, maybe. But true, an Alpha Blood would be very powerful if this first sword. Oh, there we go. It's white border.
There we go.
Okay.
That's why I
So-
remember it was white border.
Looks like Mercy's asking for what red specifically reactions we've seen so far. But yeah, if there's an Alpha Blood, this goes to 8. there'd be no other way to pump it higher than that because we have to pitch the second card to resources.
Mm.
So maybe this is the kind of turn where Aria is just asking for 3 cards in hand from Mercy, and then just going to Arsenal instead of actually applying one of the damage bonuses. And of course, if Mercy doesn't block, then foot on the gas. We're just going for it, right?
Because how many Stroke of Foresights have we seen? 2? 2 reds? Because there's
2,
3
I
in there.
believe. Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
2. And no more Iron Song responses. So we are starting to run a little bit thin on Aria's kind of reactions. We've seen a lot of them so far. A lot of them have been played. A few of them have been pitched. Some of them and we've blocked with a route. So who knows what this is kind of showing us, what this is telling us. Or more importantly, what this is telling Mercy. I guess she's the one who's having to experience this at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, understandably, she's taken her time thinking about this block here. This is, I mean, how do you preserve your own life total and try and close this 13-point life total gap here? It takes a very skillful player, which Mercy has proven herself to be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I definitely think we're looking at a 3-card block again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is kind of in the model for the 2 cards.
2?
Which
Oh, okay.
Mercy is telling Aria, you don't have the reaction here. This is wrong.
She is the
Mercy
sword!
has the reaction here. And crucially, there's another resource here, so we're going to be able to attack with the sword again. This is coming at 2 damage. We are going to threaten a second counter.
Oh, shit.
And Aria likes this card on top. Aria wants this card for the next turn.
So leave it there.
Mm-hmm. And the second Dawnblade. Let me know if you've seen this before. Here's another Dawnblade.
I also love how the Dorintheas in this league, I feel like I haven't seen it much in tournament. Granted, I haven't played many Dorintheas in tournaments recently,
Mhm.
but I love the two having 2 Dawnblades.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's nice. It's clean. I enjoy it.
Mhm.
Let's make it a thing.
Yeah. I mean,
Block 3, take 5.
it's kind of something I've experienced a lot in Wellington, where I'm from. Like back, I'm such a boomer. Back in the day, in the Welcome to Wraith format, we used to do that a bunch, where we'd have 2 Dawnblades, just to kind of do it. And then we realized that you break the combat chain, so it's like not technically correct, quote unquote, but it does make things very nice and clear.
So we see a premeditate followed by that Falcon card.
Falcon
I'm drawing Falcon Wing. There we go. Thank you. Oh, Dorinthea remembered that she grew up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. She is back to being a full-blown adult once again. The dream is over. And now she is staring down 6 damage with a...
What a thing to wake up to.
Just waking up with an arrow flying at your face.
With
With the fear that there's another arrow coming for you afterwards. Like... It's also really impressive that she managed to swing a sword for like 8 damage whilst asleep.
Yeah. I don't know that I've ever done that. Although I do. Well, never mind.
Remind me to never get an Airbnb with you.
Just because I sleep with this sword on my like on the side of my bed, just in case,
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. That's not a lie.
I
I do. Yeah, that's not a
Okay,
lie.
you need to get into your room, grab the sword, and bring it back. We need to see it.
Okay.
Nobody else can see it, but I need to see the sword.
Okay,
It
you
better
guys
not
keep
be a
talking.
code word for
Yeah.
something else.
No. Okay, well maybe there are multiple swords that can. Let me go. Cut
We
that
were
out.
not
Let me
supposed
go
to bring
grab
this to the two. Okay,
You
on,
never
Melody.
brought it in!
This is gone down. I'm gonna go get the sword. I'll be
Yeah.
back. You guys talk.
please get the weapon sword. That
Yeah.
sword. Yes.
Okay, I'll be back.
All right, we're just taking a small break, listeners.
Oh, we're not taking a break, Melody. We're still on to this, I think. Actually, during this entire time we've had this sword discourse, nothing has happened.
Nothing has happened. That was quick. Where is it?
Well, my apartment. Oh, my apartment is pretty small. This is the sword.
MG.
So I'm just here to confirm that Elaine does in fact have a
I
weapon,
was going to say something, but I'm not.
and it's I can't confirm how pointy it is, and I kind of don't want to confirm how pointy it is, but it does look somewhat threatening.
So actually, I found this. I was driving down the road one day and I saw this shiny thing on the side of the road, and I was like, "Is that a sword?" And it was a sword. And I stopped. I pulled over. I picked it up, threw it in my car, and I've slept with it on the side of my bed ever since.
You found that on the side of the road.
I did. I found this on the side of the road. Yeah.
So Elaine was born to be a Dorinthea man. Was born to be a warrior.
This
Like,
is my Dawn Blade.
Elaine is living the
Oh.
life of like a role playing game character where you just like randomly come across weapons thrown across the floor.
I hope at first I was like, "What? Oh my gosh! I just hit myself."
Elaine doesn't
I
have any
was,
wounds, don't worry.
I was like, I hope this isn't like a crime scene sword, like a weapon someone discarded on the side of the road. But it was fine. It was pretty clean. I just cleaned it.
Oh my goodness. This is
I don't.
amazing. I've had the best morning with you two.
Aww.
I
uh,
have.
You know who's not having a great morning at the moment? Mercy staring down all these dawn blades. But we're still trying our best here with this Falcon Wing that does have a relevant on-hit effect because of Premeditate, and if this is blocked, if there's another arrow for 0, that's also going to have the Premeditate on-hit effect.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you just take it though. You still have
Yeah.
15-point life lead to play with.
Mhm.
Life is a powerful resource in the game of Flesh and Blood.
Life is a highway. And
Life is a
ride it all night
Life
long.
is a highway.
Melody
Double
starting
block.
the New Zealand Nationals karaoke already.
Yes.
So we see
Aria said, "Yep, life is a highway, and I'd like to stay on it." Let's.
and we flipped over the Heat Seeker, and that's just going to be the turn. There's no resources to play it. We are back to Aria's turn with 2 cards in hand, no counters on the Dawn Blade, but only 10 points of life on Mercy's side. 10 to 25. This turn I can't imagine
Hanging
being
in
too
there.
but let's see what happens. We're coming in just for the cheeky 3, pitching the final Steel Blade Supremacy in the deck.
Yep.
Which makes me wonder what she's going to Arsenal, because like if you have to keep 1 card in hand to Arsenal after this turn, your opponent knows that there's no Iron Song response, so they don't even have to block for 6 here. They don't even necessarily Mercy doesn't even necessarily have to block this. This is just 3 damage. There is no tricks available. And then this means Mercy gets to come back with a 5-card hand if she no blocks this.
I mean, I think this is exactly what Mercy wants in this situation, right? I don't think there's any 0 attacks that could be here. Like, maybe I don't really think there's any 0. Maybe a glint the Quicksilver if she takes this could be good. You draw into a resource and be able to swing Dawnblade again.
Mhm.
Well, you don't draw into a resource if she doesn't block it though. And then it doesn't go over the top. No, I think that's exactly what Mercy wants.
Yeah.
But what am I trying to say? I'm assuming that's just another red attack reaction possibly, or something like an Iron Song response that she's going to arsenal here and try and get off later in the game.
If it is, it's going to be blue though. Now, one thing I note is that Aria did block with a Go Again enabler that also happens to be a blue, and I was wondering maybe if there was a consideration to kind of not block that Falcon Wing and just come in with the 3rd Steel Blade Supremacy turn. But that's not what we've seen. That's not what we've chosen to go with. And now we have this Infecting Shot Red coming in for 5, once again asking the question, is this actually 7 damage? We have 1 resource remaining as well for Mercy. So she won't be able to Voltaire attack with 0 and the Heat Seeker. So it looks like there's only going to be 1 more arrow coming this next turn, unless, of course, that is a Bolton shot in hand and the Bullseye Bracer is coming into play. So a lot of questions being asked by Mercy here, and Aria still has a lot of life total to kind of work with, but she now has 20% less left, 20% less life total to work with, but is happy to just take this sort of damage that isn't presenting any other value other than just being damage.
I love
And
all the quick percentage math, Kiki.
I work a lot of retail.
I'm wondering where the bloody 3 of a kinds are. Are they stacked?
Yeah, we
Maybe.
haven't. We've only seen one Rain Razor, right?
We've
And
seen
Yeah.
one
no.
Rain Razor, we've seen no codexes played, we've
Yeah,
seen
we've
one
seen one
blocked with,
One
Yeah.
blocked first
and
round 0, was it?
no 3 of a kinds. So, like, this
This
is
is
getting
insane.
kind of scary if you're Aria. Almost.
Yeah,
Like, you know.
Yeah, you could have some really powerful end of game turns coming up.
and
Mhm.
Aria cycled through a lot of her reds, like the impactful
Yeah.
reds.
And maybe
I
that's
think
why
there's
we're kind of seeing no blocks here.
yeah. I mean, there's an overpower. I think maybe. Oh.
Here's a
Oh, she's got
codex.
some frailty. All right, cool.
And Codex being super powerful here as well, because there is no counter on the Dawnblade. This Dawnblade is going to be attacking for 2 as a base rather than 3,
Mm.
which makes it a little bit
Oh,
easier to
sleep
block
dart.
because there are a lot of 2s in the deck. And we're coming in for a Sleep Dart. We're not trying to hit with this Heat Seeker this turn. We just kind of want to make sure Aria is not going to be able to attack twice.
Mm.
And I kind of like this play a lot more, to be honest. Like, if this was a Falcon Wing into Heat Seeker, Aria could take, as ridiculous as it sounds, Aria could just take the 8 damage, come back with 5 cards in hand, and threaten 2 hits. Whereas because of the Sleep Dart, we're not allowing that anymore.
I was thinking maybe an endless arrow, so you've got a 2-card arsenal. Potentially she doesn't block, but
Well,
no,
the
you're
downside,
right. I think this is the good play.
yeah, you're going to get a second card from Ponder anyway, so you can choose to potentially 2-card Arsenal. And at this point, if you do get the Endless Arrow and Arsenal that, neither arrow in your arsenal has Go again. So you're not going to actually be able to play your turn outside of one arrow. Which is a mistake I've made multiple times in my trying to learn how to play Lexi.
Learning Lexi.
Lessons with Lexi. So Aria here now kind of prized into blocking, unless of course her plan is to just use no go again attacks and just go as tall as possible the next turn. But yeah, Codex proving why it's such a powerful card in this position, just really helping Mercy grind back into this game, in a game filled with incremental advantages. Once again, Codex is more than incremental; it is substantial. I'm just whipping out all the words today.
I love it. Aria could have the Twinning Blade, possibly.
Aria could have Twinning Blade for sure. We've only seen one pitched, so there's a pretty good chance that we'll see another one at some point soon.
Decks are getting pretty thin.
Mercy's deck is well below the size of her graveyard. Aria's looks like it's about even at this point, which is kind of what we expect from both of these decks and how they play. It could be a consideration where Aria just literally tries to fatigue out Mercy from this point onwards, just double blocks this, attacks with the sword, double blocks the next turn. Kind of like what we've seen at the Calling Birmingham with the Bravos against the Lexis, where they get to a point where they can just block out. And this sword will eventually present lethal, even without bonuses, if we kind of get to that point. But it looks like Aria is unafraid, is happy to just take the damage here. We've gone back to Sleeping Beauty mode.
That makes me think that Aria is going to have the Twinning Blade here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or an Overpower. I mean, Overpower
or an Overpower.
Yeah.
Not super exciting. And here we see, okay, we definitely have a Twinning Blade at this point.
Yeah.
For sure. We have the Glistening Steel Blade. Once again, my favorite card in the deck. This is coming in 4/3 on hit, puts a +1 counter on it. There is still 2 cards in hand.
Oh,
3 cards in hand. I cannot tell. Sorry?
I said pitching the Quicksilver too, which makes you think she's got a Blade Runner or run through something. I'm also just like holding this sword now.
Yes, you are.
It's very pointy, but the edges aren't super sharp, you know?
kind of
I
like
wonder
me.
if somebody's
The
LARP
point's not
sword.
super sharp. Sorry.
What?
Somebody's LARP sword.
Yeah, I
Probably.
don't know. Someone threw it out their window or something going down the street, and I
If they
picked
were
it
doing
up.
a LARP, I feel really bad if somebody was like, "Yeah, we've left a sword for you to find. Go on, Midwinter."
I don't think it was a LARP. The location, I would have been very surprised, but also I hope it didn't ruin someone's fun little scavenger hunt LARP day.
Okay, so it looks like we're getting a run through count now here. Mercy asking for run throughs. There is one. And yeah, like Elaine kind of mentioned, run through is the card you're potentially the most scared of here. Or maybe the card you could be expecting. Like, you don't want the Stormblade to hit.
Yep.
So you want to commit
That's
at least one card here. But then if they go at the top of that, they get a counter.
Mm.
And if there's a Twinning Blade, it's even worse.
right.
But then
As
if
far
you.
as got the twinning blade, you still got to give it go again,
Yeah.
which
I has
I'm
go
not.
again.
It
This is
has
the.
go again.
Yeah, the Glistening Steel Blade gives this go again.
Oh, okay. It does.
Mhm.
Does it?
Yep, it gives go again and a +1 counter on hit. It is super powerful.
I thought it. Kiki is correct. All powerful, knowing Kiki. Well, maybe we have like an Alpha Blood or something even spicier than a run through here. I
Yeah.
don't think Aria's. I haven't seen any Blade Runner. I don't think Aria's running Blade Runner.
There's the Twinning Blade. There we
There's
go.
the
We've
20.
finally seen one played. The sword wasn't hit. And now going to 3. So this kind of nullifies that frailty token just a little bit.
Mercy's got to have a 3 of a kind or something to come back with if letting Dawnblade build counters this at this point in the game.
Mm-hmm. And we didn't activate the Braveforge Braces despite having 2 cards in hand. So
Overpower.
something's up. There's something fishy. We're calling a second attack here. Who knows what this second resource will be. Melody thinks it's an overpower. We've seen 2 of them pitched, but we're also at the point of the deck where it could be getting pretty blue heavy, so overpower is not a bad shout whatsoever here. Are we going to see 2 cards blocked? Are we going to see 3 cards blocked? Are we going to see the absolute no respect blocks? I'm just going to hit you with.
Oh,
6
you gotta respect it. You have to.
I don't know. If you have 3 of a kind rain raises here at this point, like, you could very well just take all the damage and threaten close to 30 damage.
Yeah.
She hasn't used the bullseye bracers yet either. So
True.
bullseye braces plus bolt and shot has been a fantastic combo that was so good we're no longer allowed to have it back in the real world.
We can't have it in the real world. Back in the real world. In the real world. I don't know. I don't know how casters do this for like 12 hours a day. I'm just we're like an hour and a half in, and I'm already like holding a sword.
Yeah. Have you guys checked X, Twitter?
What about Twitter
Yes,
specifically?
yes, I did.
I put a
yes.
post up and there's a screenshot of Elaine with her big sword.
With my sword.
Usually
Yeah.
people pay for that kind of content, but
They do. There is definitely a special channel for that kind of content.
Oh,
Anyway, back
God.
to the game. So, what are we thinking?
All right, so right here, what is going on?
we're
Okay,
in the tank. Mercy's still thinking about no blocking this. I'm pretty confident that, like, if this is a rain raises 3 of a kind turn, you can just take this.
I mean, so Aria has a blood rot and a frailty right now. Okay, so Aria's probably, unless she's saving those cards to pay through that blood rot, you have to assume that she's going to use both of them in the attack reaction, right? So it's either like, is she paying for the blood rot or is she using them both for the attack reaction? Because she can't arsenal them with that frailty.
Yep. Yeah, so I don't know.
I reckon she's got an Iron Song in her hand. I reckon she's
Iron
maybe
Song
going to
blue?
hold on to that. Sorry, Iron Song
Actually-
Determination.
Oh, right, yeah, of course. That would be a pretty powerful way to, like, close out this game. But I really want Mercy to just have this large pop-off turn. I just want to see it.
Love to see it.
But the Iron Song in hand right now wouldn't.
No, it
No,
wouldn't do
I
it.
mean it's
Yeah,
Arsenal
it wouldn't do
for
anything.
next turn.
Right, but she's got a frailty up.
Oh
You're
shit.
thinking of Inertia.
Right.
Inertia's the one that
Yeah,
makes it
no,
disappear.
it's frailty.
Yeah,
Initiative, so.
frailty. So she's not going to be able to arsenal a card. So either she's going to use them both in the attack, or she's going to pay for the blood rot.
I think you're confusing Inertia with Frailty. So Frailty's the one that gives it -1, Inertia's the one that puts it on the bottom.
And she's not running Inertia.
Wait, but frailty doesn't that?
It makes it weaker
Yeah.
if you play it from the arsenal. But also this
Right.
Frailty token's disappearing after this turn
right.
anyway.
Frailty,
Thank you.
perfect into ninjas and assassins.
I'll just never learn that card right, because at first I thought it was
The
fertility.
fertility
Now
card.
I got the name right, but I still don't know what it does.
Today, listeners, we're talking about swords and fertility.
Okay, all right.
All right.
And there we go. We have the no blocks.
And we are taking it down to 5.
This Dolblade has 3 counters. It has hit twice with a Glistening Steel Blade. That is absolutely massive. She's taking 2 to the Blood Rot. We're putting a card in Arsenal, only drawing 3 cards. Mercy is on her turn, coming back to 6 cards. Are we going to see the big Rain Raises 3 of a kind codex?
We are. I'm calling it. It's a big one. This is the first time she's had a full hand to play.
And Dorinthea immediately wakes up at the earliest possible. Immediately.
She is alert.
Yep, she had a 30-minute power nap. She knew exactly what she was doing, and this is a lace with blood rot. I did not expect this.
No, I
this
did not
giving
expect that.
+3 to the next attack, and if it hits, it's next arrow specifically, and if it hits, it's going to give Aria a second or another blood rot. Rather, we're looking through the graveyard. This is usually one of the signs that a codex is coming up. Mercy is determined that she is happy to just throw this entire 6-card hand at Aria. Let's see how this goes.
What a sleep for Dorinthea, right? She woke up, suffered from blood rot, but
woke up with 3 counters on her sword.
Yeah. What happened?
It was a wild night. It's a wild night.
I've had those. What happened?
Sometimes Lynn just wakes up and there's a sword next to her.
It's a sword.
And there we go.
Here we go. Let's go. Come on, Mercy.
Mercy now looking at 7 cards in hand with the first arrow getting +3. There's a card face down in Arsenal that we may need to flip.
And it's Rain Raises.
If it's Rain Raises, goodness.
Come on.
Oh, this is another lace one. I'm not lace and frailty. Okay. So we're gonna lace this first arrow with blood rot and fertility.
Oh, she's with child. She's with child. Okay, cool. So we're already buffing the first attack by 6. What's she gonna do?
For 6, it's going to weaken the sword. It's going to make Aria potentially lose life. This is exactly the kind of turn that she needed to get back into this game. Maybe even close out this game in 1 turn if we go big enough. Now we know there's going to be no Rain Raises this turn. It's just not going to be possible currently anyway. Like with Bolden Shot, anything's possible, I guess. We're probably not going to attack with this Heat Seeker first, I should hope, for her sake.
Let me look up.
There's the Rain Raises that she drew off the 3 of a kind. I can only assume. It's fine, it's 2 resources, we're still good. We still have 4 more cards in hand to work with. It's chill. It's all vibes. But nope, we're thinking about something?
Hey, what you doing?
That's okay.
We are turning it sideways like we would Voltaire.
We still haven't seen the quiver activation.
No, I was just thinking about that.
There's a lot of sequencing here, like trying to figure out which arrows you want to have these on hits. A lot of the arrows have hits, some of them don't. And I guess it's kind of the question of, do you want to load them all on the same arrow that you think you really want to push through? Or are you thinking, hey, like, Aria still has a full 4 cards in hand. She's probably going to be able to fully block one of these arrows. Do I need to split my on-hit effects between them kind of thing?
Oh,
we're not splitting the on-hit effects. This is coming in for 11 damage. It's going to give not a frostbite, not a fatality token, a frailty token.
Fatality.
These blood rot tokens are looking like fatality tokens at this point. This is 11 damage where there's an additional 4 potentially on top of
Yeah,
this.
this is 11 to
Right.
15. This
This
is
is already lethal, and you still have that one card face up in arsenal and 2 cards in hand.
There's still potential for 2 more arrows after this turn. This is going to take the game back in Mercy's favor in terms of tempo.
Whew.
I say take the game back. This may
Yeah.
be the first time Mercy's actually had the tempo in this game. Aria's done such a great job of just staying on top of everything, making sure Mercy's like not able to come back. But no, this is
Aria's done a great job, yeah, of staying on top, playing this game out, having really efficient turns. But Mercy's also done a really good job of like staying in it,
yeah.
taking it, and just having multiple turns where it's just kind of like arsenal and pass, which never feels great for a player. But I mean, it's exactly what she needed to do in many of these situations just to get to a turn like this.
This is also a pretty unique build of Lexi, as far as I'm aware. Like, it's been a while since I've seen a Lexi build that has multiple lace widths. I guess. Like, I've seen them in Azalea every now and then, but like most of the Lexi lists I've seen are like premeditate, icequake, rain razors as the options, and like she has the premeditates. Looks like there's only Arctic incarcerations in terms of ice cards to go along the
Frostlocks.
Yeah. And I think that might be the extent of the ice at this point. But
it's an interesting little mix.
Yeah. So instead of Winter's Bite, she's opted to going with bigger arrows, which is pretty cool. And like these on hits are scary. Just Lexi kind of going through her witch phase, I guess, like threatening all these different diseases.
She's in her witch era. I love to see it.
Her witch era.
We're in Salem right now. She's not burning at the stake, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know. She's not burning at the stake, but there is an arrow that's on fire in the arsenal, just waiting to come across the battlefield.
Kiki, I'm so happy you're here. You are really holding down the fort right now.
You are.
You are our rock.
Yeah.
So for those that aren't aware, it's currently 1:14 p.m. here in New Zealand, and it is after 9 o'clock for Elaine.
Woo!
We usually
Who's done a little bit woo-woo.
Yeah.
My bedtime is 10 o'clock.
And she's already got her bedtime sword with her.
I've already got my bedtime sword on.
She's wielding a big old sword. Yep.
Alright.
What? It's a sword.
When I upload this video, I'm going to make sure to click not for kids.
Not for kids.
I've done it to the previous ones, but this one I'm definitely going to do it intentionally, just to make sure.
I think we're like an hour and 40 minutes into this game, so if people have stuck with us this long, they deserve
Yeah, well done.
That was such a good estimate. We're at 1 hour 38 minutes.
Well done.
Wow.
Look at her. Who is she?
It's almost like I knew when we started recording.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a timer.
There is.
There's a timer, yeah.
You'd think it was 3 in the morning.
I'm in my witch era. I just knew.
Everyone's delirious, listeners. They're just like...
I also woke up about 20 minutes before we started doing this, so...
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it doesn't show at all.
Melody is the functional one out of us. I say kind of loosely, but...
Melody today, she showed up on something.
Melody has been a firecracker today.
I was like, she showed up feisty today.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, let's do it.
Okay, so, back onto the game.
This is like a turning point in the game. We should be.
Yeah. And here we go. Here's a 3-card block. Are we going to see a defense reaction to make this 13, or are we just going to have all these...
These are D-react.
Surely. This is 9 damage on 11. There's no clean way to block it, but there is a favor saying, there we go. There's the defense reaction. We are going to take nothing from this. But Aria only has 1 card in hand, and we still have a second Vulture activation potentially available and a Heat Seeker available. This Heat Seeker is going to hit if Mercy wants it to. If she wants to play this Heat Seeker, there's no way for Aria to stop it. We're just going to clean up the battlefield a little bit. There's a lot of non-attack actions played, and just doing a good job of kind of making sure everything is nice and clear for us.
Yeah, these players have been really. I have to give it to them. And it's been very clear what's going on. They've been great at that.
Oh, I'm thoroughly impressed with the gameplay, and especially Mercy. You talked to it a bit before, Kiki. Just, you know, making the right decisions with their blocks,
Mm-hmm.
being very disciplined, not taking any risks, one step at a time, and still in it, like absolutely still in the game. Like, took a little life to begin with, and look, we're at 5-8 now. Like, this has been incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been like a master class, really. It's
It
really good.
has.
So, Bolden shot. That is a good one to Arsenal face down. Now, does she have a buff for it? Is she going to risk the buff? She is. So she either has the damage bonus already, or kind of knows, depending on pitch stack. I'm not
Oh,
sure if
there's
we're
our
there yet.
own song.
She's still coming in for lethal here, right?
This
Or
is
is it?
still lethal. This is 6 damage. This
Yeah.
is still going to require one card. Another thing is
3 of a
Mercy can just
kind.
double block this and remove all the counters.
Mm.
There's nothing
Not a
else
bad
here.
position to be in.
Yeah, you can double block this, have a 4 card hand, maybe have a functionally 6 card hand with a 3 of a kind, like you mentioned. Like that was the first one we've seen, right? We haven't seen one before. Yeah, we've seen one Rain Raises before. So yeah, and that deck is real thin at this point.
It
So we can
is.
definitely see another 3 of a kind turn here. So in this case, I
Mm.
kind of like just blocking 6. At least
Oh, yeah.
blocking 2.
Does Aria have any cards in hand?
Nope.
No. Okay.
That one Iron Song determination to
Mm.
pitch and swing a big old sword. I'm holding up my giant sword.
Mhm. Well, she's certainly
there you go.
lethal. There needs to be at least one card here.
Yeah. So yeah, in the previous turn, Aria did block with 3 cards from hand, 1 card from arsenal, and left the 1 card to pitch. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Like the other play we could see here is maybe just a single block and then come back with 5 cards if there's no 3 of a kind. That does no, I was gonna say it leaves you dead to Shunt, but A, I can't remember. I don't think Aria is playing Steel Blade Shunt, and then B, you never actually attack with Voltaire. So that's one of the upsides of being Lexi. You can't die to Steel Blade Shunt.
There's no chance in this deck.
There's not even a shunt here. No shunts to be seen. So we just have 6 damage here. Kind of vanilla. Whether we get 2 card block to just remove the counters. And it comes down to whether Mercy thinks she can get the win on this next turn. If she doesn't think she can get the win on the next turn, I expect to see 2 cards blocking this for the full amount. If she does think she can get it on the next turn, we're going to see a 1 card block and we're going to go full force everything at Aria with 5 cards minimum. The only thing I don't expect to see whatsoever is a block with New Horizon.
No way.
Yeah,
There's
no
2
no
cards
way.
gone. No. There's a lot in Messy's favor, right? There's still got the 2 from her headpiece. She's still got Bullseye. Like,
Look at that graveyard. I mean,
Yeah.
Aria's saying, what do I have left? This deck is
mm,
thin. What is still in here? I mean, Mercy. Sorry.
Well, Mercy still hasn't played more than 1 Rain Razor, and she just
yep.
pitched one. Granted,
Just put
drawing the Rain Razor after the 3 of kind does not work the way you want it to. She's played 1 codex so far, so we still have access to 2 codex. Like, the power cards are still in pairs and somewhere in this deck, or maybe in the arsenal face down.
Now the question is, does she have the arrows though still in the deck to pull off such powerful turns?
Thankfully, codex gives you one of them back. You know, lets you re-roll a little bit.
I was going to say, then the quiver kind of, at this point, does it become null and void, depending on how many arrows are left in there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Unless you're so good, you know where your 3 of a kind is. You draw 3 blues
True.
and you activate the quiver to get the arrow off the top because you've just pitch stacked like an absolute
To perfection.
At this point, perfection would not surprise me.
Yeah. And I made jokes about this being like an awful feeling game for Mercy, but at this point, I feel like it's intentional. I feel like she's done this. Are we getting the pitch stack count?
4,
Do we know where
5,
things
6,
are?
7, 8, 9, 10 cards left.
Now, is she counting the number of cards in her deck, or is she counting where's the next arrow?
Mm.
Where's the Rain Razors?
So we've got 16 cards in total left.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to see at least one of them disappear this turn.
Mm.
This is really, I mean, this is down to the wire, and this has been an incredible game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at this point, these players are so beyond me. I'm just in awe.
And if you've stuck around this long, thank you for putting up with us. Here we see a 2-card block, and
Oh,
that is a blue arrow and a
and
frailty.
yeah.
Not a frailty card, the
No.
one that gives you the frailty token.
Oh, the one that laces it with frailty.
No, the what is it? Not infecting shot. What's the other one?
It's the frailty equivalent of infecting shot. Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
Yes.
There we go. Mercy's gone really thick on like these on these frailty kind of effects, which is kind of hindering Aria's ability to maintain
Withering
her,
shot.
I guess. Withering shot. There we go.
That's it.
Withering shot.
They could have made it easier for us and just called them like bloodshot arrow, frailty
Yeah.
arrow,
Oh,
rain razors.
There's the Rain Razors.
And we're pitching a codex.
3 of a
And
kind.
we have 3 of a kind. This is the big turn.
Bring it on!
Is this
Here we
really
go.
it?
Let's
This is
go.
it.
Now,
Come
crucially,
on.
this Bulging Shot can just come in for 6 damage. It just has the on it. It has the go again. You don't have to commit any other resources to it. And it might even get you an extra arrow thanks to its reload ability. Here we go. Are we signaling for it? There we go. 6 damage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Starting the
Just a
game off.
lazy
This is 75% of Aria's life total remaining. Also known as 2 cards in hand at this point.
Mhm.
Now, outside of the reload, this doesn't have any on-hit effects. And sometimes, like, what I've learned as playing as Lexi is that you don't even use the reload sometimes because you'd rather you have the resources to give a +1 to from Voltaire, rather. But we are respecting it. We're not letting Mercy get the free reload ability.
The run through under there?
That is the run through. Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, it looks like we're just not going to have it. We're just not having it.
Nope.
It's kind of throwing me as well that Aria's board is backwards. Like, I've just kind of noticed everything is backwards. I'm like, these cards don't have any block values, but I realize it's because the card is backwards.
I think you're right.
And we're just turning a light on here. We just need Soul's inspiration. Aria calling upon Solana right now.
Calling in Soul, yeah. Solana, please guide me.
And here we have a Searing Shot. This is a blue. So this is coming in for 6 damage. And if it hits, it does 1 more. It's doing its best infecting shot impression right here. But it does cost 0. And we still have 2 cards available to us. So it looks like we're going to get 1 more arrow maximum. Unless there's some sort of... No, there's no codex shenanigans. It wasn't from Arsenal. But we're just presenting so much damage here. I guess Mercy was just kind of making sure... Well, outside of drawing 3 cards, making sure that there's enough gas left on the deck for lethal. I don't think Aria has any attacks in the graveyard, which is going to be pretty key to note if she's not able to Arsenal any cards because of the codex. So Aria won't be forced to go down on cards for blocking purposes. And that might just be the game plan for Aria at this point, is to just try to block out everything and win by fatigue.
Yeah.
Yeah, fatigue is a very real possibility right now.
Unless Mercy can push through a couple of really good arrows now, if she's got the ability to do so.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, Aria, that the fatigue strategy could get the game for Aria because Mercy's got 10 cards left.
No, I also do wonder if we're going to see if where I know that Aria does run a Nourishing Emptiness. I don't know if it's gone at this point, or if she sided it out, or if it's like coming up soon.
I don't think she's played it. I don't think she's got it on the deck. No.
Because of the codex, I don't think you can afford to have one attack that makes you discard a card.
Yeah.
But we do see a full block there, blocking for 7, so slightly above. But that's okay, because that searing shot would have hit for 7 if it did damage. And we're just pitching the Tree of a Kind once again for an endless arrow. What an arrow to finish on. Absolutely. You get Arsenal's arrow once again. That's coming in for 75% of life total gone. Aria is going to be left on 2. There is nothing.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
And
my.
bullseye.
Hold on, that has go again. That
This
is late.
game.
It has
This
go again.
That
game.
has go again.
That's game.
What a game. Thank you, Melody and Elaine, for joining me for this commentary. And thank you, the viewer, for joining us for the Rainbow Pitch League. That's us in the top 4. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you for the next one.
Thank you, our players,
Right.
too. What a great game.
That was fantastic.
So
Thank you,
played
dear.
so well.
The outro is longer than I expected, and I closed it off.
I think so. This has been a great game. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you, everyone. All right.